Hey, everybody. Welcome to the FIREchat podcast. My name is Rich Rice, your host, and with me today is Miguel Martinez.
How's it going?
Welcome, Miguel.
How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. Good to have you. So, you know, like we always start off with, this is the financial independence through real estate is our focus here at the Inland Empire Real Estate Investment Club. So, Miguel, like what does, I guess, how'd you get into real estate? Let's start with that. I know you've been in it for a long time, so.
Sometimes I think about it, and it's like, I don't think of it as a long time because then it's like, I mean, we're all still new. You know, even the people that have been doing this for like 20 years, they're still making mistakes. I've been doing this for like 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah, give or take, you know. But so I went to school. I went to Cal State San Bernardino. I got a business degree. And as soon as I graduated, I actually got a job at the job fair, or one of the job fairs on campus. And I went to work for a rental company. So I thought I was like, that was it. Like, you know, that was like what I wanted. And you got to like, you know, the good old cup of coffee in the morning. And you wore the blue suit. I don't know if did you wear a red tie or blue tie?
I never wore a suit. I just was, I was just the business casual.
Oh, you got lucky. We weren't that lucky. Like it was pretty dated at the time, but I don't know how they're doing now. But anyways, so I, like the first job, you know, out of college, big corporation. And I guess, you know, school didn't really prepare me for that kind of like environment, but right off the top, it was like a 70-hour work week. I had to drive an hour to Victorville, Palmdale. I think, is that a Palmdale or that's, is that the exit that's right there? I don't know if you know Victorville a little bit better than I do.
Like the one that goes off to Palmdale?
Yeah.
I think that's the 138.
No, it's a little further. It's right before Roy Rogers. So that's just to kind of give you an idea of coming from here all the way up there every day down.
Damn.
And
And you lived where?
No. What happened?
And you lived where?
I lived in Colton.
Okay.
So yeah. So it was still just call it an even hour. You know, so it's like, you know, I hated it. It lasted for like 5 months. So kind of left that job and just bounced around, going to different interviews for different corporations, just for the sake of YouTube. I won't say which ones, but it just seemed like it was pretty much all the same thing. Like definitely like first interview, second interview, group interview. And I was like, man, like this is, you know, this just seems like it's a lot for all the same things. So I kind of just started working 2 jobs, trying to figure out what I was going to do. I had a whole bunch of odd jobs. And then I ran to somebody from college who was flipping a house with the founders of the club. And he was the first person that flipped a house when they had the, what was that program that they had?
I think it was the accelerator program.
Accelerator program, yeah. So he was the first one. So he was like, he was telling me about it. I ran to him at Ontario Mills. And so even before that, let me backtrack a little bit. I don't know if some of the other members of the club have done this where they kind of look into different ventures like either stocks or e-commerce or drop ship, you know, and like back then Gary Vaynerchuk was like the man, you know, he was all over Instagram. So we talk about like go to yard sales, buy stuff for like $1 and you flip it for like 20 on like on Amazon
Gary
or
V.
eBay. Yeah, Gary V. Yeah, that's funny now. I laugh too, but you know, because he doesn't really.
Hey, some of the principles are there.
It's there, but then he's like, sell your house and live on spaghetti for the next 2 years, and people will be like, I'm not gonna sell my house, bro. Like, why would I live in my car? You know?
What's wrong with spaghetti?
You know, actually, I used to eat a lot of Top Ramen, so I do know.
There you go.
Don't want to go back to it anymore, but still, back on, you know. So yeah, so I had done a couple different ventures, but I just remember when people asked me about how I started, meeting him, not only was I friends with him, like reconnecting with him, but I remember he got my number, and the week after, someone had broken into the house that him and Todd and Steven had flipped. So he was like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, not much. What's up? He's like, do you want to come with me in a little bit? I got to go up there to take some pictures for the insurance company. And then on the way there, I can talk to you about how it happened. And so that felt like that was it, because like that, if I needed some type of validation, it was for me to actually physically know somebody that was doing, like literally know someone that was doing. And then I walk and I physically see the house. I'm like, oh, okay, it's real. Like this isn't like, you know, I can see it and I can touch it. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like, with like stocks and all that. And I didn't know anybody that was doing it. It was just a lot of coaching programs. So
True.
So
had you, I mean, I know you said stocks and some other stuff that you'd kind of dipped your toe into a little bit. Was real estate, until you met your friend, was real estate kind of on the horizon already for you?
No, not really, actually. Okay. You know, because again, like I was kind of all over the place. I was working like 2 jobs that had nothing to do with my degree. I was just working it to like kind of like just every day make money. But I wasn't. It was kind of like you're good at making money, but I didn't really have any direction, you know. So that's why I was like researching all these things. I think the only one I did like go to a meetup was a that's not trading stocks, but it's you trading on like money. What's it called? Forex. Yeah, I went to one in Ontario, but same thing. It was kind of like a like join my program, and I'll show you how to like all you have to do is like copy my trades and stuff like that. Which I'm sure there are people making money on that, but it's super volatile. But anyways, meeting him, his name is Luis. Meeting him and hanging out with him and doing that ride all the way up to Victorville. So he kind of walked me through how he didn't really find a deal. He found somebody who wholesaled him the deal, and then he found the money, which was Todd and Steven, and that worked. But even then, just going to the flip and just seeing like a brand new remodeled house. Then when we came back, he told me about the coffee meetup. Back then, it was like right across the street from Michigan. What's that coffee shop? Molinos.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've ever been there.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. They didn't even have it too much longer there. But yeah, so that was, and then there I met a few people, but then he told me like, oh, that's like the small one. Go to the main meeting. It's going to be at the Mission Inn. That's later on in the month. And that's kind of how I got started there. I saw a lot of people, met a lot of people. I met Charlie there at that first one. Met this other guy named Brandon, Justin. They've gone off to continue to do real estate, but in different little niches. So, but it's a great place to start. Like the meeting, the education, the networking, and that's literally how I got started. So that's
right
a
on.
little bit
Right on.
about
So
me.
when you went, so you met your friend. He took you to his flip.
Yep.
And then what happened from there?
What do you mean?
Like you said, you started going to the meetings.
Started going to the meetings. He also would like, I mean, we were pretty good friends, so he would text me. Like, he's the first one that was like, hey, go out and buy these books. And it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Think and Grow Rich. So I definitely wasn't big into reading back then. You
are now, though. I see you posting stuff all the time.
It's kind of 5 years transformation. But yeah, so I definitely wasn't into reading. But so, and not only that, like, I think back then I just like I bought him brand new, so I was like, man, I'm like feel like I'm wasting money here, like But they're actually I didn't really know about investing in yourself, so that's reading, books, education.
What were those two again?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Think and Grow Rich, which are probably in your library in the next room over.
Yeah, they're in the library. They're on the bookstore too on the website. But,
there you go.
Yeah, I mean, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think a lot of us, that's where it starts. That's like the gateway drug. Is that book. And then like you said, a lot of people, I think a lot of us actually did the same thing. We kind of touched on like Forex or stocks or what was the other one you mentioned? Sorry. Stocks,
e-commerce,
like drop shipping and all that.
Drop shipping.
Yes.
Which is crazy because like the YouTube and Facebook, back then I had Instagram, but the algorithm of like you kind of like maybe following someone that does that immediately, it's just here come the coaching programs and the meetups and how to do this. I show you how to do this. Just pay $300 there. So it was just, I was like literally just bombarded with information. So it can be kind of overwhelming. Like I said, I go back to meeting him and me knowing him from when I went to school with him at Cal State. That was like the validation of like, oh, it's real. Yeah, like that's what I needed. For sure. Looking back on it, I don't know if Luis hadn't been doing real estate, if he had been doing stock, I gotta wonder, would I be trading stocks right now? Don't know.
Maybe.
But who knows? We'll never know.
So you met him, took some pictures, and then started going to the club, read some books.
Yep.
Tell me about your first deal or the first one that you were involved in. Maybe not your first, like whichever.
Okay. Yeah. No. Absolutely. Yes. I got pretty lucky. I mean, there's definitely like, what do they say? What's that old saying? It's on the Bigger Pockets one. It's like luck is when opportunity meets preparation. Have you heard that one? So okay. So I met Charlie. He was kind of like working with another guy from the club. But then he also still gave me some guidance, and I was like, okay, like I always see these like I buy houses signs and the phone number. Like, I'll be really honest with you. I really didn't have any money when I started. Like, I think I used a credit card that was already like past its limit to like buy like some blank bandit signs, and I just went to Home Depot and I bought like with a big fat black marker, and I just put I buy houses. I even used my real phone number back then, but it was looking back on it,
I just saw one of those driving in.
Oh yeah, you're good. Those, someone told me like those still get calls. Like I know a couple of people. Actually, I just went to an appointment last week because someone was like, "Yeah, I saw your sign, and I need to sell." I was like, but anyways, we can go talk about that later. So anyways, 2017, I think 2018, no, 2017. So we still pretty lost. I didn't know where to put them. I was just kind of putting them everywhere, kind of like the places where like they're gonna get taken down like that day. But it's easy to get like run off course because people are calling you like, why are you putting signs down? People from the city, people prank calling, people like, oh, I see you rent houses, and so it's like it can kind of be discouraging because you're not. You feel like it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's something I see because I'm excited to do this, and I should let you know that I also follow other people that kind of interview. I've seen like some interviews of Steven. I've seen some Drew. That's another guy from the real estate club. And then I've seen a couple interviews of Aaron. So they always talk about how like in the beginning, it's hard, it's because, I'm going out in the middle of the night at the time. I was in a long-term relationship. I was explaining to her like, well, the guy at the club told me like do this, and suddenly I'm giving up nights to go hang out with her, to go out in the middle of the night with one of those staplers and putting up on light posts and trees and all that. So it doesn't really, you're basically, it's a sacrifice, it's work, but there's no instant gratification, because like I wasn't making any money doing it.
And you're not sure like which you're not sure which thing's gonna work, and some certain people are telling you to, well, just go put up signs, or like there's like 18,000 different ways you can find a deal, right? And it's hard to dial in, especially when you're new, because you're just not sure what's gonna work, and people are telling you. I'm sure it sounds like maybe that girlfriend at the time wasn't all that supportive.
Not at all. Yeah, not at all. So you gotta like, you gotta mesh it out. Obviously, my parents were not supportive either. They were like, "Oh, what are you doing? Like, you went to college. You could have just stayed at the rental company. And now you're out here putting signs in the middle of the night. Like, it's not."
Yeah, like those negative voices are.
All the way
even louder when you're first starting, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the loudest one is like the self narrative. Of like, what am I doing out here? Like, but anyways, so it was like 200 signs. Like. My car smelled like marker because I had them all in my car. But yeah, so I put them all up, and I was just like pretty discouraged. At the time, one of the jobs I had, I was working at my parents' pizza restaurant. And this was like 2 weeks after I was just fully done with signs. Like I didn't have a single one. And I was like, all right, well, time to start paying that credit card bill off with whatever money I can make. So, and then this guy calls. And then, like, I really didn't take him seriously because he had a real heavy accent. So I thought his voice was fake. Yeah. I really thought his voice
was happening. You're messing with me.
What happened? No. He turns out he was French. So I'd never met a French person. So but I thought he was just like messing with me. Plus, his sense of urgency was really high. So I just was like, oh, this got to be a prank. Like, so I don't know if that'll still happen in 2023. Good luck to one of our members, Austin. Hopefully it'll happen for him, but because I know he's heavy on putting bandit signs right now. This one goes out to you, Austin. It's real. It can still happen. Works. Just go, keep hustling. But anyways, so he calls me and he was like, hey, I see you got this sign over here on 13th Street. And I was like, huh? He's like, yeah, I see you got this sign right here on 13th Street in Bloomington. And I was like, all right, yeah. There was no sense of like, hi, this is Miguel. We buy house. There's none of that. I was so confused when he called, so I'm like, all right, so what's going on? He's like, all right, well, I got these houses and, I own 7, but these 2 I really don't want. And I was like, huh? I was like, all right, well, what are the addresses? It's like, well, you don't really need the addresses. You could just go meet me down there. I'll see you there in like 20 minutes. I got to go handle some stuff. And I was like, what?
This guy was ready to go.
Yeah, no, he was really motivated. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to need the addresses, and she was like, I was like working at my parents' pizza restaurant. So I just, the glossy paper that you put under a pizza, I just grab one and I just start writing it down. And like, I still have that paper. I framed it and everything. Yeah, I framed it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a cool story.
And you can see that it's all shaky because I was all nervous. Yeah. But it still has his information. And then and he was like, look, you're not listening to me, you know. I don't know why you need to go see, like, pull up like your information. I just told you I don't want them. You know, you know, you're, guess what? I'm gonna sell it to you, and you're gonna make a lot of money on them because I just really don't want them. And I had never, first of all, I never heard of somebody that owns 7 houses. I'd never met anybody. You know,
thought this guy was pulling your leg.
no, for sure, all the way.
And he was French.
Yeah, like because he had like a weird sounding voice. I was just like, what the. All right, you know, and this, I just wasn't taking him seriously. But when he started doing it, and then he was like, all right, well, I remember when I had met Charlie, he was like, look, just, you know, get the addresses, set up an appointment. We'll go together because you're not going to know what to say. You're not going to know how to pull up. You know what title is. You're not going to know if it's him or not. Like, you're not going to know anything. But at least if we're together, you know, you could shadow me and we'll work something out in regards of a fee, you know. So that guy was ready to go right then and there. He was like, I'll be there in 20 minutes. You know, I have to go there if you're ready, if you're over there anyways. So if you're there or not, doesn't matter to me, but I'm ready to sell. I didn't have time that day, so I set up an appointment for the next day. He almost seemed bothered that I set up. I was like, all right, I guess I'll go back tomorrow, but I'm ready to go back today. So I was
picturing you like, see you, mom and dad, I gotta go. Like,
no, because I mean, you know, like
you're at work.
Yeah, why would I pass up for sure money for something that,
yeah,
you know, that I don't even know if it's gonna work out. Like, you know, like,
and that's the struggle, right? I mean, because it's
sacrifice.
You know, it's not like the movies where you just like, you know, you throw the pizza apron off or whatever, and you just throw some dough up in the air and like run out the restaurant and go get your dream deal, right? Like,
no, that's not gonna happen. You know, like, I mean, it's possible to get a deal from Bandit Sign.
Responsibilities.
I don't know about it's possible to be like overnight success. I think Kevin Hart said it best. Takes 20 years to become an overnight success. So that's
cool. That's a good line.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Kevin Hart said it. But anyway, so yeah, I set up the appointment for Charlie. I still didn't have time the next day, but sure enough, Charlie, like, he even showed me the contract. It was just like a yellow legal pad, like kind of how like one of our mentors, Andy, talks about. Just so you don't really need it, like an actual written, like a, you know, like you can write it on, like he wrote it on a hand, you know, like a legal pad. Said it took like 20 minutes. His motivation was really high because the tenants and there was unpermitted structures and the cops were getting called all the time. So there was all these like, now I know, like motivations, hurt, pain factors, you know, like, and, you know, the gentleman was like 83, 84, you know, he was already in his estate planning phase. So he had already made up his mind that he wasn't going to leave those headaches to his kids. He was like, look, it's like, I don't want to do this lease option. I don't want to sell or carry. Like he had been in, like, he had carried own property for several years.
Yeah, he was a seasoned guy.
Yeah, most definitely.
He had been around, he had 7 houses.
Yeah, and then both of those houses were in trust. So it was like, this guy was not like Mr. Joe Schmo, like, oh, you know, I'm losing my house, you know, can you help? No, like he knew, like, hey, you're going to make money and I'm going to take a discount because I need to sell today. Like he was really
ready.
Yeah, very, very
and
ready.
You were in that, and your sign was right there. Like when he was ready to do it. And
yeah, actually the other, like a month ago, Raphael from the club, we did a little ride along and I told him like, hey, I'm going to show you my humble beginnings. And it's like, hey, look, there's the post, there's the nail, the sign is long gone, but there it is. That's how, and I'm going to show you these houses. And yeah, we went to go, I showed him, you know, and I told him like, hey, you know, back there doesn't look like it, but there was a really big unpermitted structure. I showed him the easement in the back that gave us some headaches. And he was like, oh man, he's like, hey man, you know, my life isn't a TV show, man. This was pretty crazy down here, man. There's no lights out here at night. There's no sidewalks. If you know Bloomington, it's not the most developed city in the Inland Empire, but you know, I made $5,000 on each house, but just to show you how you can find deals, for lack of a better word, in the ghetto, the guys that flipped them, they made over $100,000 on each one of those houses. Wow. And that was Todd and Steven. Wow. And then they worked that out with Charlie of how, because he brought in the deal. But yeah, so and it wasn't like a millionaire, but looking back on it, like 5,000, twice 10,000. That kind of like
somebody that's just getting started.
Yeah, and like I didn't really know anything.
I mean, you know, you could have. I mean, you could have gone both ways, right? Like you just might have been able to pull that off and getting it done, but at the same time, like you knew your limitations at the time. I'm sure you could. That's a walk in the park for you today.
Yeah,
but you know, like back then, you know, to do that, like I think you did the right thing. You called the people that you knew,
which I met at the Inland Empire Real Estate Club.
And well, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Is to help people like that through that process, because, had you not called anybody and you just went there the next day completely blind, maybe we would have gotten it, maybe not, That's a really cool story, man. I like that. I like that, an origin story.
I mean, there's a lot of details in between with the tenants coming back and
I'm sure
what we found in the house, and just, man, but
so how reasonable was the seller? Like it sounded like he's like, I know I'm gonna sell at a discount, but like, was he a pretty, like, was there a lot of fighting over the price, or was he like, he knew what he had? And
like, are you asking me how deep was the discount?
No, not necessarily, but like, was he wasn't like a, I know what I have kind of guy.
Nope, not at all. I think overall they said it because Charlie went with another member who was like going to list the house. And they said that it took like 20 minutes. And I'll just say, like, one of them was like 88,000 and the other one was like 112. So you can imagine, like, the rehab was heavy, but also if the actual net profit was like over $100,000 on each, it kind of lets you like, man, this guy was really hurting.
How much was the rehab on each one?
I think one was like, so we, I think, I forgot who it was. Might have been Jim and Evan that talked about like over rehabbing and just like, hey, if you don't need it. Like, I remember, you're going to learn a lot on every deal, but those two, I learned so much. And, even if you don't make like a 5-figure check, or if you only just make a fee, if you're brand new, tell the person that you're working with, like, hey, let me ride along with through the deal all the way to the end, because the education is going to be invaluable for the rest of your career. I remember going back to what Jim and Evan said. I remember Charlie was having a couple people from the some AC companies give bids because he was going to put central AC, and pretty much every guy was like, it's going to be like 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. And Todd and Steven, the more seasoned, flippers, stepped in and were like, no, just put a wall unit, $500. Basically, like, they were just like, Bloomington's not Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
So don't give them Beverly Hills. Like,
That's
people,
true.
If every house on the block has an in-wall unit, don't be the special one and give them $5,000 essential AC, because you're not going to get that money back. And like, again, I go with the guy who has a little bit of experience, Charlie, and Charlie goes with the guys who have a little bit more experience than them, him, Todd and Steven. And that's what you get from the real estate club, is like, hey, like, that could have been 5,000 just burnt like that you're just not going to get a good return on your money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, so you not only got like a, probably $100,000 million education, being alongside that. How long did that project take?
One took 3 months. The other one each one took like 3 months. It was a pretty like rising market, because even though the deal went into escrow, the deal didn't go into escrow until like 2018. So I was like doing signs, door knocking. It was not like I go to the club, I buy the band signs, and then the next day they call it. No, it was, I was still going out there for a while, so I think in 2018, it was definitely not like as hot as it was 2020, but it was definitely a rising market.
Yeah.
So.
And what I was getting at though was like, you not only made, $10,000 off the deal, you also got to stay in it as far as, learning the whole process. So like, that's big. I think that's big versus just, getting paid, and you were smart. Like, you didn't just take the fee and then be like, all right, later. You stayed in it to learn the whole process all the way through. And I'm sure that gave you a huge leg up on your the next deals after that. So,
man, because like at the time in the beginning, and I'm sure, I'm not going to say money isn't important. It's important to all of us, but when you're starting out, just know that if you don't have a lot of money, there's going to be a trade-off between you and the guy that does have the money. So either you have time or money. If you don't have any money, you probably have a lot of time on your hands, so you're going to have to, sweat equity. You might have to be the guy that, I don't know if you guys still have people on your team that just drives neighborhoods and maybe sends you guys houses, doesn't talk to sellers, doesn't do anything. It's just like, hey, this house looks beat up, I'm going to send it to Rich and Evan, Maybe do that if you're brand new, for, if not them, a couple of the other guys and gals from the real estate club. It's sweat equity, and then work something out with them. Yeah, obviously a fee. Gas isn't cheap. Living in California isn't cheap, but talk to them about hopefully like staying on for the deal and don't get so caught up in the dollar amount in the beginning. The money will come
Exactly.
for all of us.
Exactly.
You know, hopefully.
And it doesn't like, it never stops. I mean, we, just because you do the one deal, and you learn a ton, doesn't mean you can't, there's still other stuff to learn. Like, like the one that you found and then we ended up partnering on. I think that was, if you don't mind talking about it, I think there was a situation in that why you called us on versus just taking it down yourself. Cause it was kind of a tricky.
Yeah, definitely tricky. Cause, I knew that, I knew what probate was, but I mean, to actually execute that like process from beginning till end, I had never done it alone. And even then, the guys that I had, I'd seen do it alone in the past were like, man, it's very archaic. You open up a can of worms. It's something where you're like, hey, like you kind of want to like alleviate that risk, So it's like I obviously went with a more seasoned investor, which is Evan, and then he obviously told me like, yeah, this is gonna be, I've done a few. This is how it's gonna go. You go out and you work with the guys that if you don't have the answer, be honest and go and find the person that does have the answer and work with them, like, so what? Like you'll learn a lot more, or you just don't do the deal at all, So learning, that's another big learning experience. I think you guys might be also working with somebody that he kind of has a deal the same way, where like, hey, a friend of a friend, has a real estate situation. Well, I solve real estate problems. And now I just talked to him a couple of days ago, I think Beto, that it's like, yeah, that was just a friend. So it's like people talk about like doing PPC, SEO, mass direct mail, like all this stuff, but if you're just starting out, how about you hit your inner network first? How about you tell all your friends and family, hey, I just started a business. This is what I do, and I wasn't a part of the Fire Fast, but I did see some videos of how you guys were helping, the members out to be like, hey, first off, let everybody know, everybody in the group, in our group needs to be
that was like step one.
Yeah.
Was you get out there and tell everybody like what you do now.
And that's how someone texted him back, like, actually I do. And then
somebody known for like, I think like 20 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it was,
so knock on wood for Evan and Beto, because they're on the verge of making from what he told me, a pretty fat wholesale fee.
Yeah. It was,
like,
there's definitely a good deal in the works, but it's very complicated.
Oh,
like
yeah.
There's
nothing good comes easy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the harder it is, the easier it is, the smaller the payday.
Yeah.
Usually. But there's definitely like, I mean, whether it's us or you or, or anybody else in the club, like that's generally like what we're all here for, is to help, because trust me, you're going to need it. You're going to need it. Like you're either going to need it starting out, or you're going to need it down the road, or, and maintaining those relationships and not just, making the check and then piecing out to the next deal, is a big one.
What was the speaker that just,
Mark Pantek?
Yeah. So he said it, if you're making $100,000 a year, you should be talking to the guy that makes $1 million a year.
Exactly.
But guess who? The guy that makes $1 million a year, guess who he's talking to? Probably the guys either in Pasadena or Orange County that are making $100 million a year. And that's how that goes. And then and to put it in a bigger kind of like perspective. I remember a couple of years ago, I saw an interview of Jay-Z before he became a billionaire, and he went out to lunch with the Warren Buffett. Like, hey, he's not gonna go and hang out with these like younger rappers. No, because he's trying to level up. Why? What is he gonna learn from them? He's trying to level up to the Warren Buffett level. Yeah. And that same thing with and I don't want to go off topic, but I'm just saying it's all business. Those guys want to learn it from Warren Buffett. Bill Gates,
you're not off, and don't worry, you're not off topic. I mean, it's part of what we're trying to build here is the dreamers, the builders, the enders, and the starters. So we have these like 4 tiers of people, and the idea is that there's plenty of plenty of dreamers out there, that come to the club and they want to get going, and then there's the starters. I'll try and make this quick. Then there's the starters that are actually taking action or doing deals or actively out finding deals, And then there's the builders that have transitioned into real estate full time. And then there's the enders, who are the people that, just do it for the love of real estate. And the idea is that everyone's kind of, as they're climbing the ladder, yes, they're reaching forward, to the people that are above them, but they're also reaching back, and they're pulling up people with them. So, we're really trying to, if anything, we're trying to grow out the starters and the builders, the middle of the club. So that as the middle gets bigger, then those people in the middle are pulling the people up at the beginning, and then they're being
okay. So what you're saying is just trying to bridge the gap between the dreamers and the builders. Okay, instead of, not that the dreamers can't learn. I mean, they can learn a lot from, what would you say at the end, like legacy kind of guys?
Well, it's like the stronger the middle is, then the beginning and the enders, the dreamers and the enders, will basically like what's the word I'm looking for? They will be stronger as well. And because it goes both ways, right? Like if I'm trying to get better,
okay,
then I can't spend 90% of my time having the same conversation over and over again with
absolutely not.
with the dreamers and telling them like how to get their first deal. If 90% of my time is spent trying to tell people how to get their first deal, then I'm not getting to where I need to be on the
absolutely.
back end. So, but if I'm helping you, who's helping, somebody that's maybe done only a couple deals, and then that person's helping the dreamer and telling them how to get their first deal, like because they just got their first deal 6 months ago or 2 months ago or whatever, then like that is a more healthy and efficient club versus everybody looking to the people that run the club for the help all the time. You know what I mean? So it's just a stronger tribe.
For illustration purposes, it'd be like me reaching out to like Austin or Steven, who are probably like the youngest members of your club, and being like, hey guys, like I know what it is. It's like, only like a few years ago, my account was like at negative. Yep. But if you want to start out when you don't have money, this is how you start out with, working with someone that, like that's kind of in the, what'd you say, builder kind of, it's already flipping, stuff like that. Or, trust me, like, you can just go up to your network, or you could door knock, you can, all these other things that are low cost, and then worry about, the rest later. So now I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Or, like,
because like
somebody,
if the person that's at what's at the end, is it legacy builders, or what did you enders. So maybe the person starting out, if they ask the ender question, there's a long gap in between where the ender's not going to leave. More than likely, they're not going to leave their house to drive 2 hours to wherever it is that you think you possibly might have a deal. They'll lend you the money once you have the deal to flip it, but they're just in a different stage in their life.
Exactly. We all have so much time.
Not just in life, but in career. Yeah. So it's like, but the closest up to you would be the builder, right? Or the creator. Just basically like the next one up. That guy, he's already actively up and down these freeways.
And it doesn't, and what's great about this too is that, and Goodwin kind of opened my eyes to this a little bit too, was just because you're an ender or a starter or builder or dreamer in one thing doesn't mean in one vertical, doesn't mean you can't be something else in a different vertical. So like if I'm an ender on flipping and wholesaling,
right,
that doesn't mean I'm an ender in rentals or Airbnbs or notes or all these other things that you can do that are that are part of real estate investing.
So another thing is when I first got started, I was like, just like a lot of us, what do they say, running around with like a chicken with your head cut off. You want to be the foreclosure guy, you want to be the bankrupt guy. Yeah, I know, the probate guy, and then you claim to. I remember looking back on the first business card that I made, and it was like, we do probate, we do auction, we do pre-foreclosure,
do it all.
We do a tax lien. I didn't even know what a tax lien was. I just put it on the, I didn't have Airbnb on there because that probably wouldn't have made any sense. None of that made sense because I didn't know any of that. So looking again, focused on solving somebody else's real estate problem. Don't know if you've read this book, The Zig Ziglar.
I don't think so.
Oh, it's a super good book. Again, another thing you can get is recommendations for books. The one I'm reading, another member of your club recommended Paulo, the art Habits. That was good. Atomic Habits. Yeah, but Stephen McKee recommended that Zig Ziglar book. I can't remember the title of it, but it's his most popular one. He said,
I think it's on the bookstore also.
yeah, is it? Probably.
Yeah,
it's a bright red cover.
It's been
super
I got a
good,
stack
man.
like this high of I'm trying to work through.
Some of those older sales books, like they're very like, dated, like as far as like techniques and stuff like that. But that one stands the test of time for me. I remember there was a quote in that book said, "You can get everything you want in life as long as you help others get what they want first." And then I just there were so many like gold nuggets in that book, and so I just remember thinking that you have to be in service of others, and you have to focus on helping others solve their real estate problems, and that's what we do. And so instead of focusing on like this entire web of nest of where you're trying to solve the Inland Empire's housing problems, how about you just solve a close friend's real estate problem, just like the deal we just did, so for everybody out there, everybody from
that was a friend of yours, right?
Yeah, that was a friend of mine. And so a friend of how long? I've only known that friend for about a year and a half, but Beto has known that friend. I think he said for a long time.
Yeah.
So
how
about
there's countless deals we've done too, where friends of family members or like, even family members have come to us and, that, I mean, it is a service based, it's industry, but like, we're here to solve problems, like you said. And that's a big thing, like even Pete Fortunato, have you been to Pete's seminar?
I haven't. I've only seen him speak in, what's the Bill Tan one? LA Phoebe? No, not LA Phoebe. LA Rio. Yeah.
Okay. You just saw him speak live or like,
yeah, I saw him speak live.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But like the biggest thing that Pete talks about, is solving the problem. It's not, it doesn't matter about the house. Like the house, it doesn't matter if it's a 200 square foot shack or if it's a $2 million mansion. Like it's about the people and about the problems and about solving their problem. It's not about your payday. It's not about your, all that will come. Just solve the problem and actually take the time to understand what the problem is, right? Because so many people are like, oh, well, your problem is you have to sell your house. No. That is a problem.
It's a problem that's connected. Yeah, it's a problem that's connected to.
Like, give me an example of like some examples of real problems like that you've seen people have, like that. Other than that, I just need to sell my house.
Real problems like not enough food, not enough money for food, not enough. Oh, here's a better one. Super high motivator would be they inherited a house that has a payment, and now their own house also has a payment where their kids live. So now their livelihood is, and basically the house, the roof that's over their kid's head is hurting because they're falling behind on their payments because they inherited this house that they just really don't want. Now it's become a pain. So I feel
most people would think, right? Like most people would think that, well, I would love if I got left a house.
It's not that simple.
Maybe if it's free and clear and you don't have to pay a bunch of property taxes. But
what if it's not in your name?
Yeah, but even this friend, the friend that we just did with the probate deal.
Okay.
That was that was in. I mean, there was something unique about that too. Was she was living there at one point?
She was living there, but she wasn't supposed to be living there because of the restrictions on the HOA. So
a senior park, right?
Yep, a senior community. So yeah. So there's all types of things. I mean,
and once was it the grandma?
No, the mom.
Once her mom passed away, she couldn't really hide there anymore.
No.
And because they obviously knew that she had passed away.
Also,
and you can't live in it, right? So she got that house left to her,
exactly,
but she couldn't live there.
and then suddenly, like, she's renting an apartment and still responsible for this house that isn't paid off. That she can't legally or technically can't live there. Also dealing with, just going out and letting everybody know a lot of families don't get along, so suddenly she has to kind of deal with those like family members that she's, they're just not fond of each other. So it just becomes a lot more of a bigger problem, of like, man, what am I supposed to do? How do I, I got my own stuff going on, it's just like, my own car bill. Like I got now this new rent, you know, so it's now
just being thrown a house isn't always a good thing.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
People just want to get just get rid of it. You know, even if you're just solving, just they don't know what to do with it. Like, what do you do with it? Just a house you don't like or don't want, other than just obviously, you could sell it. But some people, it's a harder process. Like with that one, she was dealing with probate issues with some family members.
She was actually trying to tackle on probate herself, which I was like, let's go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and stop that right now. And, just sometimes I can be pretty cool at times, but sometimes I can be pretty blunt to let people know it's like, hey, you're not an attorney. You know, I'm not an attorney either, but I got the money to hire an attorney. You don't have either. Like, you don't have the knowledge, and she was just like, yeah, you're right. Like, I'm not like, I was like, yeah, don't, and then I've met other people, in other appointments in the past that are like, oh, well, I already went down and filed the paperwork, this and that. Man, it just goes down a bad way, because you're eventually going to see a judge. And if you're going to do the probate yourself, they're going to expect you to know. How many people talk about, I don't know if you've ever had friends or maybe family members, probably not family members, but friends that are like, they get into some trouble and they say like, oh, I'm going to represent myself. And if you've ever spoken to an attorney, it's like, that's a big mistake.
Yeah, because a lot of it's not what you say; it's what you don't say. It's you say the wrong thing. And have you ever seen My Cousin Vinny?
A long time ago, yeah. Good movie. From I remember the fingers. Remember, like how many fingers am I holding up?
Yep. Yeah, 2 Utes. When I was looking, I was thinking up a different name for a new company, and
new company for
the club? Just like a holding company, LLC kind of thing, and it was 2 Utes was up there.
Really?
As one of them. I didn't end up going with it, but
have you ever named your trust something funny? I have.
Because you can name them whatever you want.
Yeah, you can name them whatever you want. When I was younger, even before I got my business degree, at some point I wanted to be a film director. So I still have like a passion for film. So, but not more of a hobby. But nice. I remember thinking, I was like, oh, I'm gonna name mine like the Tarantino Trust or the Spielberg Trust, just because of all these film directors that I enjoy their movies. But no, I've just named them other funny stuff like the Santa Claus Trust, just to.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's in it. Like, oh, it's probably some presents. No, it's a mobile home in San Jacinto. Sorry, guys. Just for that,
I ended up going with a Willow reference.
Willow.
The movie Willow. You ever see that?
No.
Dude, really?
Wait, how old is that movie?
It was like the 80s. But it's George Lucas and Spielberg. They partnered together after Star Wars.
What's it about?
And it's basically they couldn't get the rights to Lord of the Rings. So they made like a Lord of the Rings knockoff.
That where the dog is flying?
No, that's Never Ending Story.
Oh, okay.
But they basically made like a Lord of the Rings kind of knockoff, and it's with Val Kilmer.
I like Val Kilmer. Who was the other one?
Warwick Davis, the guy from like Leprechaun and
Leprechaun, like the actual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And but yeah, it's like an 80s action fantasy movie. And it's Lucasfilm. So it's George Lucas's. It's Lucas. It's Industrial Light and Magic, which does all the So it's a lot of like Star Wars esque like practical effects and
lasers,
special
and stuff
effects
like
and stuff like that. And I don't know if there's any lasers in it, but there's like trolls and it's like fantasy stuff.
That's funny.
It's like I bobbed into the theaters, but it became like a cult classic. And
I really like
cult. Me and my brother used to watch that movie all the time. I could probably just quote it from the beginning to end, but I ended up using that as one of the things in there as a reference for
any of your LLCs or just
an LLC.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I like classic movies, so I'm interested. I'm just wondering, like, how really?
I didn't know you were into film. I didn't know you were into film that much.
Yeah, super into it, man. I was like taking like film photography classes. I did a theater class at RCC. I was bouncing around at community college for a while. I didn't just another thing. I didn't just like go to Cal State. I was like at one class a semester at RCC for a very long time. Just kind of like not knowing what I wanted to do.
Well, that's what I feel like it's.
If you're gonna do it at community college.
Yeah, exactly.
Do not do it at the university.
Exactly. Like you're so regular. The 4 year has become so expensive. You don't really have. I mean, yeah, you have a few electives you can take like your first couple of years, but it's like what you can take like physics or biology. Like it's not like, you know, they don't really give you a whole lot of time to test the waters and figure
Who
it
does?
out. You know what I mean? What's that?
You said they don't give you who?
I just mean like the college system doesn't
Oh,
like the way it's
okay.
designed. It's like, you know, you get a year maybe to take some electives, and then you're like, okay, you got to pick your major, and you know, otherwise you're gonna spend a ton of money doing something that doesn't even count for your major. So I think what you said, like spend some time in the in the community college system and like try those classes, you know, for a couple $100 a year.
Are you ever in the Wood Streets or downtown?
You know, not too often.
Oh,
Why?
Because I was like, already RCC was a nice campus when I went there, but now it's like, it looks like a university.
really?
Yeah, it is a very nice campus.
Yeah, a lot of the community colleges have gotten very nice.
For that being a community college, I'm like, man, it didn't look like that when I went there. I mean, there was like the quad which already built, but now it's like that library is like nice, man. So it's like something I learned recently was that even though, yes, we all complain about, you know, I know I do, cost of living, gas, taxes in California. The thing about the education system is that community college is only a thing like over in this part of the U.S. Over like in Boston, New England, and all that. There aren't community colleges.
Really?
That's not a very like common thing. Like you have to go to a four year. So think about it like this. Like here, you can, you know, get a lot of like certificates and associates and put them to work. You know, they do like real estate courses, graphic design courses, and all of that. Like community college is the place to kind of like figure yourself out, and then spend a little bit more money at the university level. That's my take on it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
So, anyways, we're talking about our network, how you can find deals without spending that much marketing dollars. You know, it can happen.
So if you were brand new, and if you were just starting today, knowing what you know now,
Okay,
what would be like your step one to go getting a deal, or like just how would you go find your first deal if you knew everything you knew right now?
So what does that mean though? Like as in like I
Like
have
would you go
zero
through
money.
branded signs?
No, hold on. You said starting brand new, but now I have all the education from the last 5 years.
Yes,
Okay, and what year is it?
today.
Okay,
Right
so
now.
it's all right.
Yep. Like
Okay.
somebody listening out there like wants to take the same path. They heard you talk. You're speaking to them in their mind, and they're just like, all right, Miguel, like what do I got to do today? to go
I
get
wouldn't
my
even drive
first
for
deal?
dollars. I would walk for dollars.
Walk for dollars.
Walk for dollars because like we're starting out, so basically means I have zero money. All right, so I don't have any money. So I don't want to be spending money on gas driving to like quote unquote not the best of areas where there might be a deal on the next block over from my house, but I just don't know it because that's not the street I take to get home. So I definitely would walk for dollars. Again, zero money. I wouldn't even order the bandit signs. I'd go down to Home Depot or the big, buy the big part. It's like a corrugated plastic. I forgot how much. It's like 4x12. Just use a box cutter, get some markers, keep the budget under $50. You just got like 50, 75 bandit signs, and you didn't have to wait for them because I had to wait like 6 weeks for them. You know, they came all the way from Texas. The shipping was expensive. So you're keeping everything on a low budget. Still work with the bandit signs. Walk for dollars, drive for dollars, and just get calls, set up appointments, see what their motivation is over the phone. Because again, I have the education. There's a book. I don't know if you have it in the library. It's called Active Listening 2.0 by Steve Trang. Super good book, man. Changed my whole like sales intake, lead processing. Like it's probably like about 110 pages. Qualifying people on the phone will save you a massive amount of time. There's so again, I have the education, so I would be able to streamline like the number of leads that come in, like who's good, who's cold, who's not even a lead at all. And after that, go to the appointments, figure out what their problem is, offer them 3 solutions, and then go from there. And something that I'm definitely more on is closing. Like if you have to close it, like it's all great if you build rapport. It's all awesome if they shown you the house like a bunch of times, but if you don't close and if they don't, they don't sign the paperwork, then you basically just had a conversation with somebody about their house and nothing happened. So you have to close. So and if we're just working for one deal, that's how I would do it. Just definitely take out all the fluff. I don't really watch TV. Continue to self-educate through, books. I was big on Bigger Pockets for a little bit, but a lot of that stuff doesn't pertain. I never heard someone from the Inland Empire on there speak. So also focus on the education from the local guys that are doing it.
Yeah,
because that's local to your market.
Absolutely.
I don't really care who's the one that lives up in Washington? Is that Brandon Turner?
I'm not sure.
I don't even know.
No, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I know that by now they've expanded, but back then, like one was in Denver and the other one was in Washington. I don't live there.
Yeah.
I don't buy there. I don't flip there. So
Yeah, I mean the principles are similar, but are the same in a lot of ways. But you're right. I mean the local, the local presence and the local, people definitely know what's up. I mean, I just talked to Andy last night.
Okay.
Yeah, I talked to him this morning too, but I think it was last night that he said, he said he was preparing for his class in Illinois.
All right.
He's doing a class, this weekend here, but then he's doing another one in June in Chicago, and he was like, I'm rewriting the manual for Chicago. I'm like, why does it matter? And then as soon as the question left my mouth, I was like,
I don't know if there's any mobile home parks in Chicago.
Maybe not Chicago proper, but I guarantee you there's ones in Illinois. But the laws are different. The way that it could be a different type of title state. It could be instead of a deed of trust state, it could be the attorney title? The lawyer's title. I can't remember what the technical term is.
Warranty
I don't
deed.
have to deal with it. Yeah.
All-inclusive warranty deed.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
If all you've done is stuff in California, you're not going to know the first. Maybe it's not that. I don't know how difficult it is, but it's different. So there might be some special laws in Illinois or other states that prohibit something. There's a couple laws on the books now. Excuse me. That actually is cracking down on wholesaling. So
I heard about that. I heard it
different states. So you got to be careful with that.
I've seen somewhere on an article that was about 10 states. You need a license to wholesale, or something like that. I might have. It was just I perused it. It was a real quick read.
Where you either need to be an agent or a special license or none of that applies in California. But if you're out there listening and I don't know what are the other states that check your local stuff. Visit that local RIA and find people that are local. So, but let's jump on the financial independence part. Because again, it's financial independence through real estate, and we've talked about real estate quite a bit. And I know we could talk forever here, but I know financial independence. What does financial independence mean to you, Miguel?
Being able to do whatever you want and live life on your own terms. That's basically how I define it. I mean, currently, I remember going back to one of the books, the Cash Flow Quadrant. I'm self-employed, so I'm a business owner. That is one of the quadrants, but to be a full investor is to be able to make money while you sleep. Make money passively. So so I'm not there yet. I will be. In time. These things take time. That's another thing I had. The reality hits. So that would be what financial independence would be. It's live life on my own terms.
Okay. And let's dive into what are your terms? How would you,
my own terms.
If you were financially free right now or financial independent right now, what would the day in the life be?
Day in the life. Wow. Definitely a lot of trips. I want to travel a little bit more. I'm only doing 3 or 4.
That's why we have the palm trees.
Yeah, I see that. I haven't gone to one of those yet. I did want to go to Miami. Did you guys go to Miami? Is that where we went to Florida? Man, that looked good. Right
It was.
Yeah.
I mean, we were only there for a day. But
oh, okay.
We jumped on a cruise. But,
oh, really?
Miami was sick. I'd like to go back. Yeah.
I heard they when you go out to eat, there's a lot of fruit on their menu. Is that true or no?
I don't know if I really noticed.
Okay. You guys gonna get lobster?
No, dude. We were only there for, like I said, we were only there for a night, and we went to, we met some family out there.
I didn't know you had family out there.
I didn't know I had. No, I mean my cousins live out there, but it turned out that my aunt and my other cousin were flying down there the same weekend that we were going out, just out of the blue.
That's cool.
And so we all went out to dinner, and we got Italian food, which I mean I'm Italian. I love Italian food, but that's not where I would have gone.
Oh my god!
Like we're in Miami, I want to go get some Cuban food.
Some things never change, because a year and a half ago you said like I don't go out for Italian food, because we don't do that, like. And then when I met your brother, he said the same. We don't go out for Italian food, all right? Because Italian food isn't Italian food; it's cooked at home, know. So how critical were you of that Italian restaurant?
No, it was pretty good.
All right. So it was pretty
good. Like we
that would be something that I love food, so it's like being able to go out.
Well, my aunt's like my aunt and her husband and
Did I meet your aunt already? Because I've met.
I don't think you met that aunt. No.
You sure? Because I've met 2 different sisters of your mom, and there's 3 of them, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you did. She came to the Mission Inn.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
Yeah, my Aunt Geraldine. Yep.
I remember your mom specifically saying at some point when I met another one, I was like, "This is my other sister."
Yep.
So that means I remember.
So, but yeah, they were in Miami at the same time, so we went and got some food, and then the next day, Caitlin and I, or it was either the next day or that afternoon, I think it was it was the next morning. We went and got Cubanos at
so you did get Cuban food while you were there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, you're in Miami, dude. Like I've been watching, like you ever seen the movie Chef?
No.
With John Favreau? He like makes a food truck and no, dude, you got to check that movie out.
I know John Favreau. I haven't seen him act recently, but he is a good director.
But so he's got this whole movie about a food truck, and it starts in Miami, and he makes Cubanos, and like I've never had like a real Cubano like in my entire life.
Okay, all right.
Like I'm in Miami, and I'm just dying to go get a Cubano, and we're at this Italian place. But anyway, it was good. We were with family. Can't ask for anything better. But
okay,
we got our Cubanos the next morning, and our Cuban coffees, and dude, it was phenomenal.
How was the Cuban coffee?
It was phenomenal. It was all amazing. Anyways, this was supposed to be about you. So Miami.
Oh, just basically like traveling because I saw a little bit that's another reason why even though this may or may not go with real estate is just I would say push for education because while you're in college you get to see cool stuff. So I got to go to Denver for free because of Cal State. And I remember, you go somewhere and you try even though we're still in the United States, you try what's going on in Denver, and over there they eat bison burger. I don't have bison burger over here,
I remember that when I went to Denver.
Yeah.
They had those everywhere.
So obviously, you went to Miami, you're like, well, I could eat Italian food at home, but here, I'm going to try some Cuban food, So I've done that.
I've travel and go to McDonald's.
No, oh my God, man! I'm like, I feel offended that you said that. Okay. Why? What did you have when you went to Greece? Did you have a burger? No, you had Greek food, right? Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah,
lots and lots of Greek food. It was amazing.
Yeah, you weren't like, what? I mean, I don't know. Let's go get some egg. No, you want Greek food, right? So, anyways, So being able to live life on my own terms these days. The way I set up my schedule is that, Monday through Saturday, it is a grind time, but also there's those really important hours. Mm-hmm. For me, it varies between 9 to 1, 9 a.m. to 1 is the time to zone in. I got to call these people. I got to follow up with this park manager. If I have deals in escrow, what are we doing to push, the needle forward? And those are hours where there's no reason why I have to discipline myself to be there is no reason why I should be checking Facebook. If it's email, it needs to be an email pertaining to what I'm doing. I gotta check the calendar, so it's either that or 10 to 2. It just depends on what's going on in the day. Anything hour after that would be either to networking, education. Obviously I like to keep a balance of gym and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But Sundays, in the beginning, I was all about grinding 24/7, but now Sundays, it's just not happening anymore, because
take a day off. Yeah,
talk about living life on your own terms. Then I would want to live every day like it's Sunday.
Exactly. That's my next question was.
Yeah, watching scary movies, watching 80s action movies that were so cheesy, but they're so good. Mm-hmm. Have you ever watched one with Sylvester Stallone where they're something about where they're climbing on mountains and stuff?
Cliffhanger?
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Backdraft in years. I want to watch that one.
Backdraft's amazing.
Yeah, but then you forget about.
Go.
Yeah, just all that, man. Oh man, now these newer movies are just I heard. I mean, I'm not gonna talk about the bad movies, but There's one that just came out this weekend that I'm like, man, we could have stopped at number 3. Now they're on number 10.
Oh,
like,
Fast and Furious?
I mean, you said it, not me, but just like, man, they're like driving spaceships.
It's not even Fast and Furious. What is it, Furious?
Yeah,
10?
they're driving spaceships
10,
now, like.
I know, they're not even racing anymore. They're just like,
How did we
it's
go
like
from
borderline, like, it's like borderline, like, they're borderline like action heroes now.
how did we go from drag racing in Miami to like breaking into like drug cartels in Colombia and being able to like I don't know, where did
It's Vin Diesel, him and The Rock,
Is that what it's going on? Man.
They gotta keep one up in each other.
So that's why I go back to those like cheesy 80s and 90s movies because you can't, no matter how many I watch, they're so good. It's so funny. Yeah. Oh man, were you ever into Steven Seagal?
Not really.
That is super cheesy. That's a cheesy
Not
action.
really. Yeah,
that wasn't
Under
either,
Siege. Under Siege, I saw when I was a kid, but I not really ever.
Oh yeah.
Not since then.
How about Trouble in Little China? Was it Little China or Little China?
I don't think I ever saw that.
That's Patrick Swayze. That one's good. That was not Val Kilmer.
I wanted to watch. What was it? What was the one that Tony Stark's always calling Thor? Point Break.
Oh, when they're like they're breaking into like banks, but they're also swimming like.
Yeah, they're like surfers. They're
surfers.
like renegade surfers.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Oh, man. The funny thing about those movies is that there's no plot line. It's just like there's no character development. There's nothing to say about dialogue like what we're doing. Mm-hmm. They're just straight into it. Like boom, they're just surfing and they're stealing. I'm like, this is what I need. Don't give me a backstory on like why he became evil. I don't need all that today. But anyway, so yeah, and that's what I wanted to do. Obviously, family's important. I myself don't have any kids right now, but my brother has a lot of kids, and I love spending time with them. And I don't want to be doing. I just had this conversation with one of our friends. I don't think he's a member of the club, but he's definitely doing deals out in the Coachella Valley. Mm-hmm. I told him, hey, I don't want to be 45 and putting up bandit signs. I definitely want to be at that. When we talk about tribe, not necessarily like the ender, but definitely a higher up on the level, of like, hey, like, call me when like I will give you guidance on how to find a deal, and when you have it, if you don't know how to flip it or how to go about it, then call me. So it's a little bit higher leveling up, like. Yeah. So and then he was having a good laugh about it. He's like, same here, because we're the same age. So he was like, I don't want to, like, he doesn't have any kids. He's like, but he's like, I don't want to be like 45 putting up bandit signs, like at all either, like definitely more on the passive side of things. So,
So do you have it like, you just kind of take it one day at a time, or do you have it laid out as far as, you want to have a certain amount of, what are you shooting for? Rentals?
Yeah, definitely rentals. I think John Schwab is another guy I followed pretty well. I was like really surprised about how simple.
Yeah, he keeps it super simple.
Keep it. Although I am a fan of like Peter Fortunato, I am lean more towards. I like his accent too, John Schwab's, and I saw him at the same LA area, not the same night, but different night. And he said, just buy one house every year for the next 10 years, put good financing. And then I was like waiting. I was like a cliffhanger. There it is. I was like, waiting. And it's like, and then that's it. You're done. You guys are just making it too complicated. All right. Yep. I can't make it. And then what's the other one was like. I kept trying to make it my accent like his is like, I want to buy from people that need to sell, but I don't need to buy from people that kind of want to sell. And then that's it. You guys are making it too complicated. All right. You don't need to buy from somebody that kind of wants to sell. All right. Like basically the gist of that is like the person needs to have a motivation. Mm-hmm. Like there needs to be a real hurt. And these days with the way the market is, if you could find 3 motivators, man, you better put that sucker into escrow. Like, and sometimes you'd be surprised how like maybe they're not working, like maybe the owners of the house or mobile home, they're not working. Well, that pain isn't real yet. They might be like, well, we'll figure it out. We're just gonna start selling some of our stuff on a yard sale, or we got enough food to last us. The pain's not real. It has to. You have to stack the motivators.
Yeah, that's somebody. I mean,
that's kind of
follow up with.
Yeah,
right?
And then again, going back to active listening. Active listening. Hey, like, is this on a follow up? Is this a cold, warm, hot, smoking hot like lead, or is this not even a lead at all? Like, oh, got my house listed with a realtor. they took like a week to sell it. You know what? Just want to see how much you can offer me. I'm like, dude, you are not motivated whatsoever. you know, and you will
just shopping.
Yeah,
And going back to what you said, I mean, that's a lot of stuff you can qualify on the phone before you go drive an hour. You know, sit down with somebody.
Going back 5 years ago,
screening.
I don't know if you'd ever did it. I know I did it of like dropping everything that you're doing because someone called, and then you drive like an hour to wherever this person's at, guy or girl or couple, and they're just wanting to know if they got a good deal on the house they bought 6 months ago, and they figured you could tell them that. And that's when you're just like, you know, kind of was doing something with, you know, at the time, ex-girlfriend now, but like, you know, girlfriend or family member, or like, you know, your brother, you might have been in the middle of something, but because there's no guidance there, you kind of just go. But now, going back to the education, super important, nonstop. These guys are, you know, some of the guys that got a little bit more grays than me and Rich, they're still going with the education. They're not going to stop with the education.
They never stop. And on that, you know, that pre-qualifying piece, real quick. You know, like that kind of happened to me today, like where, you know, I was a little pressed for time today. I had a lot of appointments backed up, you know, back to back. And, you know, somebody called and, gave me a lead, and I threw it on my schedule, went out there, and, you know, the guy, nice guy, you know, but, you know, not in a hurry. You know, he just was kind of curious on what, you know, I didn't qualify the call. You know, I just went. And, you know, it also could have been, not saying I wouldn't want to get those leads, but I would probably say like, hey, let me talk to the guy real quick, you know? And what, like, you know, when you talk to sellers and they first call you and like, what's your first like 3 questions that tells you whether they're like they're serious about selling? Like, and you said like they have that drive to sell now.
Okay. So, I've taken a lot of education over these past 5 years, and it didn't really make sense. I remember like a couple of years ago, I was in Stephen McKee's office, and I asked him like, hey, like, is there any way I could just sit down with you and you could just teach me how he was like showing something on the screen and how to like find this exact person and an attorney and this, and then like, and he said like, it doesn't really work like that. You know, like I've been doing this for a while, Miguel. So it's like my brain is just like a web of things that I've like picked up over the years. So right now, going back to the, you know, what we're talking about, there's stuff I've picked up from like the Jimmy Napier CDs. There's stuff I've picked up from Steve Trang. There's stuff I've picked up from doing ride-alongs with some of the guys and gals of the real estate club. And my brain now has just put everything together. It kind of weeded out the stuff that doesn't apply, and it just puts it all together into the situation. So obviously the infamous question is like, well, okay, well, you know, tell me, like, why do you want to sell this house? And then I connect that to Jimmy Napier, where he's like, people have a problem with shutting up. I can't do his accent because he also has a really good accent. Rest in peace, Jimmy Napier. He's like, people have a really good accent. You know, my bad. People have a problem with silence. Just shut up. And they'll tell you all that you need to know about the house. I don't know if he was originally from Florida. He might have been Texan. But yeah, great speaker. So, you know, he says, just shut up. Just, you know, like, make it uncomfortable, but you have to be the person that's going to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, you know? And then, you know, so there's obviously those like follow-up questions, like it's like pain probing, other things that I've learned from other like coaching programs, seminars, things that I just have on my computer that I'll usually like listen to in the background. I have another one. What's the Mike Cantu one? That's another one where he has like an entire like good 15, 20 minutes of how his process goes. And I've taken some of that and applied it.
Yeah, absolutely. And
by now I just don't really think too much about it, but there is definitely that. Like, so I just mentioned Pete Fortunato, Jimmy Napier, Mike Cantu, and Steve Trang. And so, you know,
what's funny is I you know, why would you sell such a nice house as this? You know, Pete Fortunato's.
But the way it's delivered and everything I tie to it comes from all these other guys.
Of course.
You know, and it's not just the one Peter Fortunato question. There's all these other things that I've kind of connected to it. And then, so with that pain probing, I took Aaron Mazzarillo's coaching program, and we did, I remember it was like a 2-part where it was like, hey, this one's really important. So we're going to do it back to back on Monday and then the following Monday. So tune in. Like, we did everything through Zoom. So again, going back to it, like, hey, like just going through it, live sales calls, what he does, and just, and the way these days, it goes, maybe Peter Fortunato's thing might be a little more dated because now, like you said, you qualify him. So maybe back then he didn't qualify them. He just went straight to their house, because cell phones or whatever. But so why would you want to sell a nice house like this? Depending on their answer, if there's like a family member, a death, you want to pain probe a little bit, like, hey, okay, well, how long ago since, so-and-so passed away? And then you just shut up again. Because now you want to know what came of that. And then you want to know if they even had money to pay for the funeral, if they had because of the funeral or because of what's going on with probate, or maybe they haven't gone through probate. You just want to shut up and just let them talk. And then finally, somewhere around the third question, okay, well, tell me what's going on with the house, like the condition.
Yeah, and then just shut up.
Yeah, there you go. I was just waiting for you to talk because I want to, you're the seller. I was just waiting for you to talk.
Yep, they'll tell you everything.
But most people won't. They get nervous. They start, blabbing on. They what did they say? What did Charlie tell me? It was like probably the first. I remember one time he's like, first time someone calls you, Miguel, you're probably gonna throw up on yourself. Because you're just gonna.
Yep, you're nervous.
You're nervous. You're not gonna. They're gonna.
Oh my god!
They're gonna ask. And I know that's. I remember our speaker the other day. There was the girl in the corner that was like still nervous about like, oh, what if I show up? And they start saying, it's like, well, they you're new, but they don't know you're new. So why are you worried about it? Like that was one. What's the other guy? I think you might have seen him, Sean Terry. I did a little bit of his, and I remember him saying like, if you make a mistake, so what? You're never gonna see this person ever again. I had never seen you before in my life before I did real estate. So the chances of if you were going to sell me a house and I made a mistake, I don't think I would never run into you because so it's
even if you did, like it's
so what?
Yeah.
But it's that self narrative of like, like that fear of making a mistake and not having the answer. Yep. There again, now I have another one. Like I did a mobile home one from some guy from Texas, John Fedro. He talks about like, hey, if they ask you a question, if you don't have the answer, very kindly be like, hey, that's a great question. Give me 24 hours to talk to my partner and find out the answer because I don't want to misinform you. Can you do that for me? And they're like, all right, that's fine. Yeah, when you get the answer, no rush. I just, was just wondering if maybe after, if you guys do sell it, if I could rent the house back from you after I sell it. All right, let me figure that out for you.
That was one of the first things I was ever told in sales, like not sales school, but just sales in general was like, don't BS people. Like, if you don't know, people will respect you saying you don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
But I can find the answer. That second part's key. But I can find the answer.
Yeah.
Like if you're just gonna make something up, like
don't lie to people.
People will know. Like people will know. Like it's just. Just you're better off just saying you don't know, and let me find the answer for you.
Going
and
back
people
to
are like, hey, cool, I appreciate it.
Is his name Mark, the speaker from here, or what was his name?
Last week?
Yeah,
Mark. Yep.
So just going back to Mark, it is 100% a people business, and you should know real estate as much as you know people. And some of those guys, they're in the ender part of their career right now. Talk about like they even take psychology classes. They've taken psychology courses, workshops, because you have to know people, and that's
absolutely
that's what drives them, what influences them, what motivates them, and that's what's going on, and that's what a lot of this business is about. So that was like I didn't, obviously these things didn't come naturally. I had to go out and find the education that was going to help me with that. I took on higher and higher cost. I almost not the cost, but bill, like as in like. The education, yes, it got to become a little more and more expensive, but the income was, it's like investing in yourself because you're investing in your own business. So if you make a little bit of, if you make some money, don't white knuckle. Have you heard that that phrase? Don't white knuckle that money. I know it's hard, but you should be able to
put it back in.
Put it back in yourself, in the business, in the education. I think right now the highest bill I have. It used to be the trust class with Ward Hannigan. I think that was $1,500. But then Aaron's coaching program is 5,000. So right now that's one that's like so far for me the highest bill. But I know I've talked to some of these guys at the club, and they talk about like that's nothing, you know. Yeah. But obviously they're in a much higher stage in their life, and they talk about these $50,000 masterminds.
Spending that much a month on masterminds.
But when they tell me about, hey, these are the guys that are in that group, I'm like, oh, all right, I see what you're doing. Like it's like, yeah, that's right. I'm paying to sit at that table because I'm trying to be Jay-Z taking Warren Buffett out for lunch, because I need to be on that level, and that's what they're doing. And it all circles around to what building that tribe and like, hey, like how are where are you getting your information from? And unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't come cheap, but nothing good in life comes cheap, free, or easy. All right.
Exactly.
So that's my take on like, when a call comes in. Like I said, I've thrown a lot out there as far as like the books, education, workshops. Like it's I guess I just don't think about it as much now because it's like it's all right here. And then like I've just like when a call comes in, I don't throw up on myself. I don't like shake. I don't like sometimes I don't even really or especially now when doing mobile homes, if I already know the mobile home park, I don't really I don't need to write down the address. If anything, I'm like, oh, like 220, like, oh, that's great. I just fixed and sold a 218 last year. So I mean, I know exactly where you're at. You're at that blue one where the awning was kind of damaged. Like, yeah, well, now there's more damage. And I'm like, oh, that's great, but
yeah, it's almost like getting started is the hardest part,
Yeah, I know.
Once they start it starts compounding. The neighbors see you, talk to the neighbors, it's and they call you a couple of years. As long as you keep going, that deal flow gets a little bit easier. Not easy, but it gets easier.
I'm going to take some time and correct you on that one. It doesn't get easier. You just get better.
Fair enough.
And that was actually Stephen McKee's that told me that because I was like, I hope it gets easier. It's like, it doesn't get easier. You just get better at it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still
you think it's easier? Like deals are just falling on your lap every day.
No, I'm not saying it gets. I mean, yes, the deals get better, but it gets a little easier to find a deal once you've been. Once you've been in it, like it's. I think it goes both ways. I'm not saying Steven's wrong or that I'm wrong. I think it goes both ways.
That is true.
But we are running out of time, so I got a quick like what's next for you, Miguel? Like, what are you looking for right now? What's your maybe the next like 6 months? Is there anything you're shooting for, or like what's your buy box looking right now? No,
for sure.
What's up next?
Right now, looking to house hack my first property.
Okay,
like been doing some tours. I actually did a little bit of a sacrifice this year. Moved back to my parents. Yay, not really. To save money on the rent, because I was renting out in Moreno Valley for a long time, but also to kind of save up money for my own first house and house hack, live in the garage, rent out the house or whichever, just live in the master bedroom, rent out the rooms, there's all types of different ways to go about it. I've even looked into the fourplex option of living in one unit, renting out the other 3, but looking to do that before the year is over and then go from there and more heavily into rentals. I mean, for me, the end, like I still want to go into the John Schwab technique of like, hey, 10 houses and then actively flip, maybe wholesale, continue to wholesale depending on, how the market's going. I mean, a lot of sometimes, because the market's not always going to be like its current state. So sometimes flip it, sometimes wholesale, sometimes hold. I used to, when I was brand new, all I could think was about wholesaling. But somebody explained to me, like, imagine you are a handyman and the only tool in your toolbox is a hammer. You're going to be a pretty crappy handyman if the job requires you to screw or something, to fix more than what's required, to cut something. What are you going to cut with a hammer? It's just, so you want to stack your toolbox with as many tools as possible. You want to be a full-fledged, investor, a businessman, investor.
Like you said earlier, you want to put like 3 options in front of people.
Yeah.
You don't want to just put that hammer in front of them.
Yeah. So you don't, it's just, and that's, there's a lot of analogies, but because we're running out of time. I mean, I've heard them all throughout the years. What was one of my favorite ones? Again, going really deep into an older gentleman that did a lot for people here in the club. He told it to this other investor that he mentored named Aaron. And it was Mick Blackwell that talked about like attention and, kind of like all eyes on me. He said, I guess a few years ago, somebody wanted to, some TV network wanted to do a show about this investor, Aaron. And he went to Mick about like, hey, they want to do a show about me, about investing in the Inland Empire. And he told him like, it's the whale that rises to the surface that gets harpooned. And I remember that, I just watching that interview, I was like, man, if that, you don't got to be flashy. You don't got to, if you flipped $100,000 and you got $100,000 payday from a flip, don't go out and buy an $80,000 car. Like, all you're doing is just, nobody wants to see you rolling up in your brand new car, especially when they're living in their not so good living situation, knowing you're about to like, that you're basically cashing in on their like kind of not so like their bad situation, do not do that. That was like, I remember just seeing that. I was like, man, I wish you could have told me. I mean, I still got it, but Mick never told me that personally, but still, I just remember thinking, man, he's real. There's a lot of wisdom up there, and rest in peace.
It's filtered out.
He's no longer with us, but dang, that was a really good line right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyways, absolutely. Say it one more time.
It's the whale that rises to the surface that gets harpooned. I don't know.
So stay humble.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. It only takes one deal for us. There's just that one bad deal. Before you know it, what does Andy say? The man in the black dress, and that's when you're like, oh man. So just stay humble to everybody.
Exactly. So if you're looking, if you have some leads or something that you think Miguel can house hack, or you're looking to just buy something turnkey on the market, or like you want to try and do like a fixing, like a burr. Or,
it's another thing of the John Schwab. If you're gonna buy, at least try to get a 10% discount. So like that was another one from Building Wealth One House at a Time. It was a good book. Good something in a B minus neighborhood, with the opportunity to increase in value. Like obviously 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom is always, gold. But if, just as long as the numbers work, I don't want to go into like Barstow or Blythe or what's another.
Hey man, 30 years from now, Barstow might be happening in place.
It might be like the stop, the stop
30
before
years
Vegas.
ago, people didn't want to buy in Elsinore.
Is that true?
Yeah, like when I was a kid, like Elsinore was like, you didn't want to buy in Elsinore or live in Elsinore. Now it's like now it's like a popular happening place to live. It's crazy. There's like crazy amounts of homes going up there, and
do you know that like Rancho Cucamonga was not always like what it is now?
Yeah,
like, I think
Rancho was like it was the outskirts.
I saw
that's what I'm saying. Like it just keeps civilization just keeps spreading out.
Also, kind of be on the eye for opportunity. I remember in college, someone did a presentation how like before Victoria Gardens was built, like that was nothing. Rancho was nothing. Like the coming and building of Victoria Gardens brought that city to be what it is.
Sure.
Brought all those housing communities. I was like, is that what happened to Lake Elsinore? I'm just curious. I don't know much.
I mean, there's like some outlet malls and everything down there, but
what do you think?
They put a Costco in, but I think it just people just get people that got pushed out of Orange County. Or wanted out of Orange County, they moved to Corona,
and so
Corona blew up, and now people are getting pushed out of Corona or want to leave Corona, and then they go to other places. You have East Vale and like some of these other these other places that are 5-10 years just growing really really fast, and it just keeps getting things as people like that gentrification, I guess, just kind of expands outwards. If it was pushing out from Orange County and LA, it just keeps going and going and going. And I think, eventually, look at like Apple Valley and Victorville. The high desert on how, 20, 30 years ago.
I wouldn't be opposed to living in Victorville now. People,
Apple Valley was like, no way. And now Apple Valley is like, there's a lot of people that are buying houses in Apple Valley and commuting down or even Crestline.
Just got a deal sent to me this morning from Apple Valley.
The amount of change that's happened in Southern California in the last 20 years.
So in your opinion, because I told you I was going to ask you a couple questions, what are some of the 3 cities that you're looking at that you're like, hey, there's opportunity there that maybe it's not the best right now, but in 10 years, like for whatever reason, you're seeing that like, hey, I want to buy there because I know that in 10 years from now, like it's something, it's the growth that you're like,
we're almost out of time, but I'll try and hit it fast.
Okay.
Obviously the mountain communities I love.
Really?
Especially Crestline, Cedar Pines Park, all the way up to even like Twin Peaks and Rim Forest. The still commutable ones.
Those are all new to me. I don't know anything about that, but okay.
The high desert, Apple Valley, Hesperia, especially like the eastern part of Apple Valley.
Not Adelanto, right?
Adelanto too, yeah.
Okay.
But like that high desert area, I'm not a huge fan of Victorville.
So we're just doing all of HD, right?
But what's that?
All of HD, right? High desert.
Yep. So, and then my stepdad, he's a fan of Barstow. There's a lot of cheap properties out there. I mean, dude, you could get a house in Barstow for like $60,000 still.
Oh my god.
So, and people pay rent out there. It's not it's not an unheard of thing. I don't own anything in Barstow. I don't know if I ever will, but
okay. I mean,
you're
just throwing that out there, but not saying that you're like, hey, I want to buy.
Yeah, I'm not going out there. I mean, I'm trying to keep my farm a little tighter. Because I like that I can walk to everything at the moment. Right. But
do you still walk for dollars?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. I eat for dollars, and like dude, I'm at breakfast and I'm talking to the servers, and
you put this in front, like
where do they live
or something like
No, I mean I usually have my shirt and my hat on, but
right.
And I got signs up all over town, so it's being.
Wow, you got signs all over town, like bandit signs?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I still do bandit signs.
Oh,
I do it all, man.
Rich.
I send out postcards. I got bandit signs.
The president of the Investor Club still puts up bandit signs. Oh man!
Yeah. After the big storm we had, I put them up all over the. I don't put them up every day, but I.
I don't either. Like I'm like a every other weekend thing, and there's still solid leads coming in. Like, hey, I see.
Yeah, Caitlin's got video of me just hanging signs still. It works. It works. I mean, it's not gonna. I put them up like a couple months ago. I still haven't gotten a call from them, but eventually someday will. But I walk into one of the stores or whatever, and people are like, "Oh, I recognize the little guy."
Man, I could do an entire interview with you about like deal finding and like the 100 different ways. Because
all right, we're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have to do that next time.
All right.
In the meantime, if people want to do a deal with you, Miguel, or they have something that they want to talk to you about, or whatever, you just want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do that?
Facebook. Some of the members gave me. I have a popular name, so just message me. Miguel Martinez is like a not popular name, but just a common name. That's a very good way to. You'll pull up my name and you'll see a bunch of them. So just I guess try to find the one that matches. Like 30 mutual friends, Richard Rice, Fairlane, like that one's easy. Or my phone number 909-745-2393. I also have 2 side businesses where one of them my mobile notary business. So I already get a lot of calls from random numbers. People are like,
if you want to talk about that.
Oh no! As far as what,
like give the number out or contact?
Oh, it's already 909. No, I actually use my real number for my mobile notary business. 909-745-2393, and then I guess I've done a few ride-alongs. Depending on who they are, I kind of just see where they're at or if their schedule. Raphael's was really good because he brought obviously I understand he brought a pen and paper notepad, but I told him hey, don't worry about it. Maybe today we won't really talk to somebody, but I'm gonna walk you through just things that I've done, things that have gone wrong. A lot of that stuff has gone wrong, and what came of it, and and how it just kind of trickled down to where I'm at right now. Perfect. And then it was like great. We grabbed lunch. It was like 9 a.m. to like 4 p.m. Just a nice Friday of just hey, talking shop, and I showed him a lot actually, and I actually showed him some leads.
Perfect.
Maybe I shouldn't. But anyways, I showed him some actual solid leads I'm working right now and be like, hey, check out this house. You see how it's like the worst one on the street? There's a reason for that.
Nice.
He's like, oh yeah, I didn't even know.
Well, perfect. So if people want to get a hold of you, they can call you, do a ride along with you. You also do some notary services.
Yep.
If you want to check out some of the books that we were talking about earlier, you can go to books.iereic.org. We have a full-on bookstore there that's kind of gives a description and some reviews from members that have read them. You can check out as far as education and stuff like that. We do a weekly Fire Focus event. That's firefocus.iereic.org. And we also have Peter Fortunato coming out in August, at the end of August. So again, that's the website for that is peter.iereic.org. There's like a theme here. You could just go to iereic.org. You could become a member or buy some books, go to the class, whatever you want, and check out all of our other events. We do like 3 a week at this point. So we look forward to seeing you, and we'll see you next week on the FIREchat podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
See you guys, everybody.